JDBC, ODBC. Anyone have finished? In the third module, we had the concept JDBC, ODBC, right? So I told you how to connect the database using the Java application. So anyone have done at least one? At least one. And somebody asked me that in VS Code, is it possible to execute? Yes, you can do. Using Python also you can do it. But in our syllabus, they have mentioned like JDBC. That is what I told. And yes, anything is accepted. You can do it. And using PHP also, if anybody knows how to uh, put the connection, okay, from the front end to the PHP MyAdmin. Yes, within a few lines of code, okay, you can do this. But coming to the Java, it needs many supported files that you have to get download. And somebody asked me like, what is the Java IDE exactly that I have used? I have used Java IDE Kepler. Okay, so that is what I'm just preparing the document also. For JDBC, ODBC, stepwise I'll prepare the document. So what the software that is needed, and uh, and I'll provide you the links, and I'll provide you the screenshots of my execution and all. So yeah, at least do as per that. I'll share the document within 2 days. I'll upload it to the Moodle as well in Glearn. So, before going directly into the concepts, let us have a look on the syllabus of module 4. See here, I think I haven't shared. So the fourth module is completely about schema refinement and normal forms. Okay. See, this normal forms concept is used in the procedure schema refinement. Okay. So what is then schema refinement? Okay. Refining the schema is called as schema refinement. This is the simple definition. Okay. But what is, why this module they have included in our syllabus? What is the importance of this? That we have to know. Because, see, anyhow, if suppose, if I took one application, for that, definitely there will be a schema. Suppose, student, okay, for university, yeah, for university, if suppose if I take the application university as an example. So for that, there will be many more schemas like student. Okay, so for student, there will be many number of attributes. So yeah, so I can say that is a schema. But why we do the schema refinement? Because due to the redundant values, then you might get a doubt like, ma'am, if we put the integrity constraints for the attribute, then we cannot be able to even, yes, uh, we cannot be able to even give the same redundant record. So we can avoid using the integrity constraint. Okay, so like this, you might get it out. But maybe you can put the differential integrity for the SID. Then what will happen? For many of the attributes also, sometimes there will be the same number of values. So why to like, if there was the same value for all of the records, then why to have to post it again and again? Okay, we can remove the redundancy also as well. Okay, so that is called as a schema. Schema refinement is actually why we are refining the schema is mainly the advantage for this is to avoid the redundancy. The purpose of the schema refinement is to avoid the redundancy. So how do we will avoid the redundancy? Means using the normal forms. Okay, actually there is a keyword called normalization. So normalization consists of, it has some procedure, okay, some large procedure. So what the researchers, or I can say that scientists, okay, what they have done is they have divided the entire normalization procedure into some parts, and they kept the name as normal forms for each and every part. So that is called as one normal form, two normal form, 3, 4, 5, like that. So that is called as normal forms. So using some procedure, they are doing this, uh, avoiding redundancy. Okay, so this is what the introduction about the schema refinement, and I'll tell you concept by concept. Yeah, I'll share the PPT. So I have already told you, right? So normal forms, it has 1NF, 2NF, 3NF. Here in this diagram, the normal forms shown here up to BCNF, but it consists again fourth normal form, some fifth, and etc. What I told you, the procedure that is called as the normalization, and we have already discussed. So we'll just do the problems at first. Okay, discuss this theory and see why to avoid the redundancy is why to avoid the redundancy. Okay, say suppose because if we had the redundant copies, suppose if you are going to do some changes, then definitely we'll get the anomaly. Anomaly is nothing but what? Difficulties. So where do we get the difficulties? In databases, means while updating the data, while inserting the new record, and while deleting the record from the database. So yeah, this is the example. See, you can observe here, this is the table consisting of employee ID, name, address, and also the department. So I can say this is the employee table. Okay. So it is not normalized. We have to normalize it. Why we can say it is not normalized means, see here there was uh, the redundant copy for 101 and for 166. Okay, maybe sometimes one faculty will go to the number of departments. Okay, so in that scenario, you can imagine. So maybe 101, okay, is related to one faculty, is going for the two departments, 1 and 2, for same subject. Then in that case, if anything I want to update, then I have to see which record I have to update. Again, I have to look over each and every record. Okay, it becomes again a difficulty. That is update anomaly. Even suppose there is an insert anomaly also existing here, because supposition that you have placed somewhere in good MNC company. There was an employee, see they will maintain definitely an employee database. So in that, they will just take your data and they'll just upload your data into the database so that, okay, they know what is happening. Suppose immediately after you joined, maybe your data might not taken by the management also. Why? Because if you assign to any of the project, okay, then they can just go through your profile. Okay, if you have not done the work, then what is the use of storing the data about you in the database again? Maybe, see, even though you are the employee, but you are not currently assigned to the project, and so that what you will do, you may under the training period or else in some other work. So at that position also will had some insert anomaly. Okay, so that is what insert. And if I want to delete any of the record using 101, because maybe sometimes in the middle, maybe a faculty can be replaced with one more faculty. Then what will happen if I delete in this table? Suppose delete star from employee where EID equal to 101. I want to delete this particular data, but in this, if I execute that query, the about two, the first two records will be gets deleted automatically if I give the employee ID 101, because it is repeating. Okay, so these kind of difficulties are existing in the database. So to avoid this, we had the concept. See, this was the explanation of what I said using this example. We had the normal forms concept. Okay, so what are these normal forms? So first normal form is if any of the attributes, so there the theory part it was already there, so you can just go through it. But listen, uh, listen to me. Actually, 1NF is nothing but in the table for any of the attribute. Sometimes it has two values. Suppose like phone number. Yes, nowadays everybody are using minimum two phone numbers. Okay. So at that time, it is non-atomic valued attribute. Okay, it will become a non-atomic value attribute. Atomic means it should contain only a single value. That means whenever we can say the given relation or schema is in 1NF case, we have to look over into each and every attribute, and every attribute should contain only the atomic value. That means, excuse me. That means it should not contain any multi-value attribute. Okay, so then how to find out whether the relation is in 1NF or not? See, how you will get the questions is, again, I'm just reminding you, this subject is very much important because in GATE, you will get minimum 4 marks, okay, from this DBMS subject and 2 marks definitely from normal forms. Definitely. Whatever the exam that you are going to write, okay, any technical exam on background BTech knowledge, okay, so definitely you will be get question on this normal forms concept. They'll just gives you the one schema and they'll just write the functional dependencies and they will ask you whether it satisfies 3NF or 4NF or sometimes BCNF, so like that. So if you want to opt the correct answer, then you have to check from first normal to the normal form to the last normal form. Every normal form that you have to check. Okay, if you know the concept, then only you'll be in the position to opt the correct answer for that question. So that is what, listen carefully, and if you add any doubts, okay, ask me now itself. Yeah, this is the example. So I told you just about 1NF, right? So we'll discuss about 1NF at first. See here, this is the employee table, and employee phone has two values. So that means it's a multi-valued attribute. Okay, so according to the property of 1NF is it should contain only atomic values. Okay, so it can changed like this. It can be changed like this. If we made this the above table into like this, then I can say each and every record has atomic values only. So now this employee relation is in 1NF. Understand, students? Any doubts? 31, sorry, 34, 31, 34, 59, 9, 5.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes? No doubts. Shall I move forward? అర్థమైందమ్మా అందరికి? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And the next one is 2NF. What is this 2NF is? If you are going to check whether the relation is in 2NF or not, so before going to check the property of the 2NF, you have to just check at first whether it satisfies the first normal form property or not. If it satisfies the previous normal form, then we have to go with the current normal form property, whether it's satisfying or not. Okay. So the second normal form is a relation will be in 2NF if it is in 1NF. If it is not in 1NF, then no need to check for the 2NF. So that is the first thing. And then if it is in 1NF, then we have to check like all the non-key attributes are fully functionally dependent on the primary key or not. Fully functionally. Okay. So note down here. What is the meaning of this? Any example? Anybody? I already told you key attribute, primary key attribute and non-key attributes. Can anyone give me the example for this? See, if I take the student schema, it has number of attributes, that is SID, SNAME, SH, etc., etc. And from all of this, tell me which one will be the primary key attribute? Key attribute. Yes.
SID, ma'am.
So SID, very good. SID is a primary key attribute. So then the rest of all the attributes are all non-prime attributes, nothing but non-key attributes. So this what is here is the meaning of this is all non-key attributes are fully functionally dependent. So what is then functional dependency? So we have to know at first the functional dependence. That means functional dependent. Which one is dependent on which attribute? So I can say as this SID, if we know the SID, then we can get all these values. That means it is deriving what? It is deriving what? SNAME, SH, so on. So I can say this is a functional dependency. Yeah, it has a function. Okay, SID has a function. That means it is deriving something. It is also called as a function. And all these are non-key attributes. And I can say this is one of the functional dependency for the schema. And we had the key terms for the left hand side attribute and the right hand side attribute is as it is deriving, okay, from one attribute. So it is called as dependent. So it is dependent on what? SID. So it is deriving something. So it is a determinant. This is called as a determinant and this is called as the dependent. For this student schema, I can say this is a functional dependency. See, I've already told you what is the key attribute and what will comes under the non-key attributes that we have already know. Okay, for the taken schema. And just I wrote here only one because as it consists of some function. So SID is deriving something. So this is a functional dependency. And what is the dependent one? The derived one. And which one is determinant? So that we have to note down here. The left side attribute is a determinant and the right side one will be a dependent one. Okay, this is the terminology, functional dependency terminology. Okay. I'll tell you later about third, fourth, fifth BCNF. Here BCNF is not included, but I'll tell you about that also. We gone through the example. Yes. Okay. So what will be the among these three, what will be the primary attribute? Teacher ID. Definitely we know. So if we know it, then we can say that these will be the derived ones. Okay. So non-prime attributes are subject and teacher age, and which will be dependent on prime attribute, that is teacher ID. So it can be decomposed into two tables, this one and this one. Okay, we'll see later about this. Okay, how to decompose and all that I'll tell you. See, already you know the property of 2NF. That means all the non-prime attributes, it must fully functionally dependent on primary key attributes. Okay, whenever you are going to decompose the main schema into the number of tables, then each and every table you must include the prime key attribute. Okay, because it must be fully functionally dependent on primary attributes. So from these two tables, we can say that yes, the first relation is fully functionally dependent on primary key attribute. The teacher is fully functionally dependent on teacher ID, and from the second relation, yeah, subject is fully functionally dependent on teacher ID. Okay. So at first, we'll discuss about the functional dependency concept. This no need. Okay. So what is functional dependency? I've already told you, right, about this. A tends to B is a functional dependence. And what is the dependent attribute and what is the determinant attribute? So this concept was introduced by E.F. Paul. There are types of functional dependencies. Okay, only two types. So what are those? Trivial and non-trivial. ఏంటి difference అంటే actually suppose if there was a x tends to y is a functional dependency. If there is a functional dependency, x tends to y. If the right side attribute is subset or equal to, that means or equal to x, then it is called as a, we can see it is a trivial functional dependency. Okay, ila aithe ardham kaadu kada. We'll take one example. Suppose AB tends to B, AB tends to A, yes, it is a subset of this. So trivial subset of this, trivial equal to x, trivial. So this kind of functional dependencies are trivial functional dependencies. And what about non-trivial then? Suppose it's not a subset of this. It's not a subset of this. Okay, so all these are which will comes under non-trivial functional dependence. Okay, first of all, functional dependency ante telusukovali, and then we have to write down the types of functional dependencies. Those are of two types, and the function trivial functional dependence is the first one, and the second one is non-trivial, and we have to note down the definition, then we have to put the examples for that. See, it is not trivial, it's not a subset or equal to x tends to y. Okay, yes, so these are non-trivial independent functional dependence. Okay, and the rules of the functional dependency, the properties it has, see, in the questions they will mention some. See, suppose if there was a relation and it consists of some attributes like this. In the question, if they give like this, A tends to B and B tends to C. So from this, can you able to derive something? Yeah, I can do it, because as it holds the transitivity property, I can define one more functional dependency, that is A tends to C also. So in this way, the rules, the properties of the functional dependencies are useful. Okay, you can derive the new one. So what are the rules or what are the properties of the functional dependency are? See, the most important, all this for remember. If B is a subset of A, that means A tends to B always holds. And the transitivity is A tends to B, I think B tends to C. Then we can write A tends to C always holds. Okay, and augmentation, yeah, A tends to B. Then yes, you can put here if you want to add any of the attribute to the right side. Then if you include that attribute in the left side, then it always holds. That property is called as an augmentation. Okay, and the decomposition, yes. See, but while decomposing, you have to remember that suppose here they have considered this example, A tends to BC. So easily they have written like this, A tends to B and A tends to C always holds. Suppose there is a functional dependency like this. Then how can we write? Already I told you, na? So I can write yes. Okay, I can even decompose. Suppose if there is a table consisting of three attributes A, B, C, and among these three, if A is a primary attribute, then if you want to decompose this entire relation into the two tables, then each and every table you must include the A attribute. So AB and AC, that's it. Okay, and this is what composition and edit. Students, any doubts? So no need of executing anything. All SQL concepts was over. But you had, I think, only one experiment in the lab about normal forms. Tell me, everyone have followed or not? Understood? Understood the
Ma'am,
concept?
explain once again
About what?
the trivial solution.
Okay. So trivial and non-trivial, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Actually, a functional dependency is either trivial or non-trivial. So, which one is trivial and which one is non-trivial? We can easily identify that by knowing that the rule that is, if the right hand side attribute is a subset of left hand side attribute, or the right hand side attribute is equal to left hand side attribute. That means if y holds this property, if y is a subset of x or y is equal to x, then it is called as trivial functional dependency. Examples. Okay. See, I will write down here some uh, functional dependencies, and I will tell you whether it holds trivial functional dependency or non-trivial functional dependency property. Okay. See here. A tends to B. Directly I can write down here, it is non-trivial functional dependency because it is not a subset. The right hand side attribute is B. It is not a subset of A. Okay. It is not a subset of A and it is not equal to A also, because what is the trivial functional dependency property? the left right hand side attribute. If it is subset or if it is equal to the left hand side attribute, then it is trivial. So it is not holding that property. So it is called as non-trivial. And for trivial, I am giving you the example for trivial. Now tell me, Kiran, whether it is trivial or non-trivial?
Trivial, ma'am.
Yeah, good. That's it. Okay, so for that, these are the examples. See, all these are the examples for the trivial functional dependencies. See, right hand side A is subset of AB, B is subset of AB, and AB is equal to AB. So it's satisfying the first rule. And C, it is not a subset of complete BC, you have to check. Madam, B is subset of AB, no? B. Okay, so it will comes under trivial functional dependency. So that is what I kept the option as this. Ante? No, it's not correct. The complete right hand side attribute set must be as a subset of this. And see here, it is trivial functional dependence. Because complete this AB is a subset of ABC. So like this. And AD. So it's not a subset of ABC. So
Non-trivial.
that's it. Simple. So simple. And see, you should get a doubt like when I discussed you about with you all about second normal form. There was a rule that see when we can say it is in 2NF is if it is in if it is also in 1NF, then we have to go with the property of whether the relation is holding the second normal form property or not. So what is the property is it should be 1NF, that is the first property, and what is the second one is all the non-key attributes must be fully functionally dependent on prime attribute. That how can you know? See, if it is a theoretical one, you knows about, yeah, student. See, if I mention the attribute student ID in detail, then you can say that, okay, all the remaining attributes are non-prime because as it is the prime attribute. So like that you can tell. But suppose, see here in the examples, they are just mentioning A tends to B and B tends to C. If there is a relation R, A, B, C, D, E, F are the attributes, then how can you say which one is a key attribute? No, we cannot tell by looking blindly into the relation. How could you say? So that we have to know. Okay, see, even if they give the relation and if they mention the some of the functional dependencies, by just if we go through the concept of attribute closure, then definitely we can say that which one is a prime attribute among all the attributes in a relation. So that is the concept that we'll discuss tomorrow. Closure of an attribute set. It is so much easy. So I'll tell you about this attribute closure in the next class. Okay, how to find out how to know in the relation, like what attribute is primary key attribute and what are the candidate keys and what are the super keys. Everything we can just know using the concept of attribute closure. Any doubts? No? Okay, if not you have any doubts, then you the people can leave the meeting. Students, I am requesting you all again, please join to the classes using Zealand. Zealand you can find out the meeting links. So join to that meetings. Don't go with the Moodle links. Anyhow, I'll delete those. And everyone try to at first connect the front end code to the back end. So because anyhow you know the programming languages, but you don't know how to get connected to the database. See, as a software engineer, you must know how to connect with the database. Whatever the programming language it is. If no doubts, then can leave the meeting. Thank you all.